Oh no, Paige, it's Dallas, the Dallas Wings. In this video, we are going to review the WNBA draft lottery that has been completed. We will take a look at the winners and losers from the draft. I think one of the biggest losers might be Chicago. Paige Bueckers might have escaped in this thing. The best thing that could have happened might have happened for her. At least I'm less fearful for Paige than I was maybe about 2 months ago. She has hope. But before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. Now let's get into this. So Dallas has the number 1 pick, the LA Sparks number 2, Chicago number 3, and the Washington Mystics land the number 4 pick. Now, of course, the WNBA has messed up this lottery as it could be so much better. First off, instead of sending the players who are fine, I want the executives there. I wanted Curt Miller of the Dallas Wings to be standing next to Magic Johnson of the LA Sparks, and it to be super, super awkward. And to watch Magic have to smile as Curt Miller gets the number 1 pick, which would be the perfect vengeance for Curt Miller as he did his part with the LA Sparks, as he tanked his butt off and got them in position for the second best odds for the number 1 pick. It's not his fault that Washington Mystics, they messed up the tank. Now, if you watch my channel at all, you know that I have no time for the LA Sparks and how they run their organization, and the Dallas Wings and how Greg Bibb has run personnel and the organization. About a month ago, I did a video talking about how Paige Bueckers was doomed, as the choice was going to a team run by Magic Johnson, as he had just fired Curt Miller and had outlined with Bill Plaschke how he was going to take a more hands-on approach. Oh no, Sparks fans, have a lot of fear. Or Greg Bibb, who can never get it right. He's run off about 4 or 5 coaches during his tenure and has only won 1 playoff series. But Greg Bibb is a man of his word. He said that he was going to have a new GM run things, and what do you know? He appointed Curt Miller. And yes, Miller has his critics, but he definitely knows basketball, and I would feel much better about Miller running my team than Greg Bibb. And Magic's record as GM speaks for itself with the LA Lakers, not to mention he was quite okay with Derek Fisher after he benched Candace Parker, letting him be appointed as GM of the Sparks. So yes, if I'm Paige Bueckers and I'm going to have somebody build my team, I'd much rather have Curt Miller versus Greg Bibb or Magic Johnson. But of course, before handing over the keys to Curt Miller, Greg Bibb had to have one last personnel mess up, which was last season drafting J.C. Sheldon over Aaliyah Edwards. And yes, this isn't me being Captain Hindsight because they've been able, or they will be in position to draft Paige Bueckers. No, I said this last year. It made no sense passing over Edwards when they knew Natasha Howard, she would be coming up as an unrestricted free agent, and she was unable to be cored. So instead of drafting the perfect replacement for Howard, no, they reached with Sheldon, who might be okay in time, but now they have a hole at the 4 spot, which, funny enough, Aaliyah Edwards, who was at the draft lottery for the Mystics, would have filled quite nicely. And then if you look at it on paper, Dallas could have had a modern lineup as they would have had Aaliyah Edwards at the 4, potentially play Satou Sabally at the 5, who I believe they will ultimately decide to core. And voila, you have a modern WNBA team with mobile 4 and 5s that can match up 1 through 5. As well, you can bring McCowan or Kalani Brown in for sparing minutes to match up. But it was just amazing. They had McCowan and signed her, like she signed until 2025 on $200K, and then they doubled down and basically signed her clone, Kalani Brown, who's the same type of player, big and slow-footed, like she's on $128K and $132K, and signed all the way through 2026. So while the rest of the WNBA is moving on to 4s and 5s that can shoot and are mobile, much like the Lynx and New York Liberty, who were in the championship last season, and the Aces with A'ja Wilson. But no, that's not how Greg Bibb and the Dallas Wings work. No, let's get 2 big, slow centers that get killed in pick and roll, stick them with Arike Ogumawale, and then blame Trammell when she doesn't turn around their defense. Dallas had the worst field goal shooting percentage defense last season, and I think it'll be quite the same this year, as they will still have McCowan at center, Matty Segrist at small forward, Satu Sabli at power forward. That's not bad. But as well in their guards, they will have a rookie Paige Beckers teamed with Arike Ogumawale. My God, Dallas better be able to score the basketball next season, as they are not going to stop anybody. Curt Miller's coaching hire better be the best defensive coach of all time. Maybe he could resurrect Buddy Ryan to fix their defense. Or could Curt Miller do a Greg Popovich as GM and be looking in the mirror one day and say, I got an idea. I'm looking at a great coach right here. I'm looking at myself, and hire himself. And to be honest, that would not be the worst thing that could happen, as it's just poor Curt Miller. He has a bad reputation. He needs a PR manager to clean him up a little bit. I think he's taken a lot of incoming since his little tiff with Candace Parker, and she hung the moniker Conference Banner Curt. But it does make me laugh that the Indiana Fever were tripping all over themselves to hire Stephanie White, when essentially she is the same coach that Curt Miller is in terms of record and getting their teams to the finals. So overall, I do think Paige Beckers has hope, as she will have a basketball person running the team. It's the best scenario she could have. The LA Sparks have done okay as well. Like, obviously they wanted a face of the franchise, and Paige Beckers, that's what their desire was. But Kiki Arieffen, that is not a bad consolation prize. They will sell that. It'll be, hey, Cam Brink and Arieffen back together again, teamed with Rickea Jackson. That's not too bad. We will see who Magic Johnson appoints as coach, and if they can stick to a plan, or if they will sign overpriced free agents. With the number 3 pick is the Chicago Sky, and I think they are the big loser, as there is not a clear number 3 pick. If Olivia Miles enters the draft, there will be unbelievable amount of pressure for them to take Miles. And oh my God, what a disaster. Let's just add a non-shooting point guard to go along with our power forward that can't shoot and our center that can't shoot from outside. But the WNBA is all about selling narratives, so there'll be stories about how Tyler Marsh develops players, and he's a shot doctor, and he's going to fix Angel's shot, and he's going to fix Olivia Miles' shot as well. I have no doubt. As well, the other story we will get, because they love these narratives, it'll be Arike Ogumawale. She will be the new unselfish Arike that'll play well with Paige Beckers. There'll be a narrative that she's always tried to do too much because she hasn't had a player like Paige around her before, and that is why. But don't believe it. Arike is who she is, which is an inefficient player. In fact, the Dallas Wings, it'll be much like Notre Dame had Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside. They will now have Mrs. Efficient and Paige Beckers, and Mrs. Efficient and Arike Ogumawale. Now, I have not even mentioned the Washington Mystics. Y'all blew the tank. That's all I have to say. The Tebows lost their jobs, and I understand it. You blew the tank. Now, speaking of awkwardness of the draft lottery, that would have been fun. Curt Miller hires Eric Tebow. He's there as well with Curt Miller, and they win the lottery, and the Washington Mystics are staring daggers at Eric Tebow. Now, that would have been good draft lottery drama as well. I want to know what the codes are. I want to know what numbers that the Chicago Sky were assigned and what numbers the Dallas Wings were assigned and which balls came up. Did they get that number 1 draft pick off of the Wings pick, or was it their own pick? That's my other question. Anyway, now it's over to you. Your thoughts, your comment, your poison. It is all welcome. Have a great night.